My name is Karen Beers, and along with my husband Dean, we are associates in forensic investigations. This is our new crash course on database deceptions and records reality, critical skills for private investigators. This is for the new and experienced investigators. Here is an overview of the course. Develop systematic approaches to database errors and verification. Distinguish between records checks and full investigations. We will cover database strategies, including interpreting database records and verifying with primary sources. Produce fact-based investigative reports and much more. What we will cover in this course. Be sure to have your course PDF handout ready to follow and take notes for the quizzes in advance. First, if the client doesn't give it to you, ask for it. Know the difference and your limitations, records, checks, and investigations. Know how to check the primary and secondary source records. Know how to check and interpret investigative database records. Know what to include in your report and exclude. Included in your course PDF handout is a bonus section. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy this new course from us.
So the first thing I want to talk about is if the client hasn't given you information that you need, whether it's right from the beginning or as you work through the case and you notice it, you need to ask them for it because it's extremely important that you have this information. One of the first reasons is to establish that you have permissible purpose. So you want to make sure that you've received anything that they have, especially regarding personal identifiers, any most current information that they might have, whether you're trying to develop more current information or doing a background or whatever it is. And then you need to use all this to also document the legal justifications you have for conducting this investigation, this records check, or whatever it is you're doing. And then you need to make sure that you avoid the curiosity, type investigations. That's our policy, policy of a lot of people. Know the difference in your limitations, records checks, and investigations. So what's this about? Well, let's start with records checks versus investigation. That's pretty important. The big difference is, it should be apparent, but it really isn't, especially for your clients. A records check is just checking those sources to get specific information, records. So, for example, you might be getting a property record, a driving record, stuff like that. And the records check might be, for example, on a background, might be collecting multiples of different kinds, or and assets and liabilities be the same thing, basic due diligence. The investigation takes that basic records check and expands it into more details and more things that the clients might need. So you might be conducting a background and find out they got some criminal history, find out they got some speeding tickets, and then you're going to be doing an investigation that it looks further into each of those things. So that's what becomes important to you. So in this chapter, know how to check primary and secondary source records. The first thing I want to talk about is comprehensive name and address verifications, because you really have to have that in order to continue on with anything. And in fact, that might be the only purpose that you're doing any kind of records check or investigation. So you have to have accurate information. If you don't have it, you're going to have to develop it. Or like I said, that might be part of your task. We've had, cases by the tons where, the client said, hey, we've been trying to find this witness, Jack Smith. We're just not finding him. We're told he's approximately, from the crash people, witnesses, that they think he's, in his mid to late 40s. Okay, that's not a lot to work with. But it might be something to work with. And we check police records and find out if anything was there, 911 calls and see if anything was. So in this chapter, know how to check and interpret investigative database records. I'm going to give you the crash course on starting with verifying data accuracy. I've talked about this in the previous slides, but we're going to emphasize a few things here. you need to go a little bit further and, for example, in databases, verify all the dates in the database records that you check. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about primary and secondary sources. I'm talking about the databases. Make sure they're accurate and consistent. This is where a lot of the biggest mistakes are made by the investigators, because remember, databases are only an algorithm. They take the data you input, they search their records based on an algorithm, and they spit out some information at you. And I'm not going to talk about the GIGO again, but that can play a part of it. But the reason the dates become the error point. So what know what to include in your report and what to exclude. We've got a full course on more expanded topics in this entire course. Like I said, this is just a crash course. We have topics on due diligence, locates, backgrounds, assets, and liabilities, and also uh, drafting your report and all the more critical details of that, including what to exclude. But I want to give this to you here because it's relatively important to everything you've done so far in the course. So the first thing is, what should your report form be and what should your content be? You should, without going into the specifics of the outline of the different reports here, what you need to know is you should only have one report per subject, per individual, per business, whatever that is. You do not want to put, if you've interviewed 4 witnesses or located 4 witnesses or conducted 4 backgrounds or whatever it is, you don't want to put those in one report. You need to have those in their own separate report. That wraps up this course, and on behalf of Karen and myself, thank you very much for taking our courses. You can find more of our courses right here on this platform under your student profile, and you can also supplement your courses with any of our books. We have them at www.privateinvestigations.org. I have that link right here on the screen for you. You can go there and find out more about some of the resources we use and make available or have found. Make yourself easier, as well as ordering our books. Our books are discounted. Now you can buy them on Amazon, plus you get them direct from us, customized to you. Before I go, again, on behalf of Karen and myself, thank you very much. Here is our contact information, as well as things that we do in the private investigator expert consultation sector outside of our courses and books. So feel free to look us up, reach out to us if we can help you in any way. We certainly appreciate it. Again, thank you very much for taking your courses, and find more on this platform. So if you really like this course, we recommend looking into our other courses on this platform, including this one here. And don't forget, you can always find our digital interactive catalog at this web address. Thanks, and see you at the next course.